Couldn't tell. She was rolling forward. Anyways. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a 2022 Buick Envision. First and foremost, though, a huge shout out and thank you to the National GMC here in American 4Q Top 4. Give me some time with this Envision. They actually have several of these available for sale right now if you're interested, so I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 22 around town and then 29 on the highway, with power outputs being 228 horsepower and then 258 pound-feet of torque. And this particular one is all-wheel drive. Now let's go with the front end of the Envision, and I absolutely love this particular color. It's actually really dynamic. So you can kind of see here on this panel at the bottom portion with how the light's hitting it, just pops out quite a bit. Now I've got these distinctive lines here on the hood, and then coming down below we've got the signature Buick Shield logo. There's a camera there at the bottom of the logo, and then notice the chrome trim that goes out either side. And then we've got these LED headlights with the daytime running lights. By the way, they don't blink in real life, that's just because the frame rate of the camera. And then down below, you guys can see here with the parking sensor and that trim that actually matches the trim that's on the bottom portion of the grille. And then notice the silver trim here at the bottom. Well, it's kind of like more of a metallic gray than silver. Anyways, there's the front end. Come around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 245, 45, 20 in the front and over in the rear as well. And then notice how the wheels are all blacked out, which works perfectly with this particular Envision. And then of course got the Buick Shield there in the center of the wheel. Notice how the fender flare is actually blacked out, and then the trim here all along the side, and you got more of that kind of like dark metallic gray trim. And then we take a few steps back, you can see how the contrast just really pops here. Notice the mirrors also blacked out on the Envision, and there's a side. Now here is the key fob. You got the Buick Shield there on the back. We have our unlock or lock function remote starting in the opening here for the hatch. Just press it a couple times and it'll pop right open. Notice there is a cargo cover there that's connected to the hatch as well. And then we do have a spare tire just underneath. And you guys can see the carpeting here on this. And yeah, overall, pretty dang practical when you're done. You can just press that button right there and that'll slow lower all of it back down. Boom. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear. I actually like the taillights here on the Envision. I think they look pretty cool. You have your ST badge, which I'm pretty sure stands for Sport Touring. And then your Envision all-wheel drive badge. More parking sensors here at the bottom. And then you guys can see these aren't cutouts for exhaust tips. It's just like to look like there's exhaust tips there. Yeah, pretty interesting. And then more of the metallic gray there at the bottom. And that's the rear. Now here's the rear door panel. You can see here with the padding, notice this white stitching that goes throughout and then down below. And then I really like this trim piece actually. It goes to the door handle and just kind of like a full view of that. And then here are the seats, which are pretty snazzy. So notice here with the red stitching and then red piping on the seats. And then it is perforated here in the center. And so altogether, looks pretty cool actually. Popping in. So you can see it's spacious in here. We've got a little storage pocket, a couple of vents, some USBs down below, and then we have our cup holder armrest set up. Here's a better look at the seats themselves. Let's head to the front. Here's the front door panel. Notice with the darker trim there at the top, and then you can see all of the stitching and padding down below. And then here's a quick look at the mirrors. Do have blind spot monitoring. And then we do have memory seats. Front two windows are automatic. You got your adjustments for the mirrors, and then that is for the hatch to set it at different opening heights. And then we've got a speaker for the Bose sound system. And then ST logo there in the seat. You can see with that cool perforated design there in the center, and then again with the red piping on the outside. Power adjustments on the side of the seat. Pedal layout down below, pretty normal. And then we've got our light controls right here, heads up display, and then the darker trim right there. And let's pop in. So here's our steering wheel with the Envision. You can see you've got nice trim all around, and then contrasted stitching there in the center portion of the steering wheel. You've got some controls for the center stack, voice command controls, paddle shifters here on the back for that 9-speed automatic, and there are radio controls there on the back of the steering wheel as well. Cruise control, heated steering wheel button, and then we have our turn signal light stock, and then we have our windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. So here is our gauge cluster. You've got analog gauges on either side, and then there in the center you can scroll through to see different menus. So basically for the settings, phone, navigation, music, and then just general vehicle information like, hey, fuel economy. Nothing too crazy with that. And well, that's all for that area. Now here's the center infotainment screen. So first off, I guess we will press OK and sell our soul. But anyways, popping it into reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines to turn at the steering wheel, bird's eye view as well, because this actually has a full 360 camera system, which is fantastic resolutions, really good. And moving on from that to the rest of the infotainment screen, response time, super quick. And you can see we've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We have a shortcut bar here. Notice home screen button, home screen button, home screen button. I don't know why they double down the controls there. But notice we got our volume control, and we have this dial that you can control the infotainment screen with as well, and then you can press the little check mark to go into the different menus. So kind of an interesting way to control the infotainment screen, but there you go. Down below we've got our analog controls for the climate system, dual zone climate system, heated seats for the front, and then we can press this and it covers up this area here. So we've got some USBs in the area. It's just kind of a storage space. This is to turn on or off your auto stop start. That's for the hill descent control, lane departure, stability control, parking sensors. You guys can see that whole setup with those two controls right there. And then we have our whole gear selector system right here. It's pretty interesting. So you've got buttons for everything, which is definitely different. And then we got a couple cup holders here, and then this is for our drive mode select. We'll go over that in just a moment. Parking brake, and guess what, back to the drive mode select. So we have our all-wheel drive mode, sport mode, off-road mode, and then touring mode, which is, as you can see, two-wheel drive mode. So yeah, fancy way to say two-wheel drive mode. Press the button and the center console open up both ways. You can see the stitching here, and there's the glove box setup, and well, also camera mirror. That is always fun. And then you guys can see we just have a lighter colored headliner here at the top. So sorry about the glare, but here's our window sticker for this 2022 Envision Essence all-wheel drive. You have a 3-year 36,000 mile bumper to bumper, and then a 5-year 60,000 mile on the powertrain. Starting MSRP is actually only $37,400. Now this does have quite a few packages added to it. Total MSRP is $45,400. And gotta make sure I don't walk into a truck by accident. Let's drive it. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility over the hood. Hopefully you can see the heads-up display now. Both of the mirrors. Then throughout the rest of the rear. And set off. Oh, setting off here in the Envision. And first off, I really like the camera system. Even though this is not a huge crossover, it's nice that it has that full 360 camera system. It definitely helps out quite a bit. Parking and all that. 2-liter turbo is definitely zippy. So I'm actually going to go into the sport mode here. So it's going to put it in all-wheel drive so we get better grip. And I guess that we're going to let this Mazda... Okay, the Mazda's going to let me go. I'm like, what's happening here? Couldn't tell. She was rolling forward. Anyways. Yeah, pretty quick. That's pretty dang quick. That is pretty quick. Ride quality is really good here with the Envision too. It's smooth, it's comfortable. I think overall, they've done a pretty solid job with the damping on this. Seat comfort's good as well. Yeah, this feels, I don't know, probably like similar in size to like the Chevy Equinox maybe? Equinox or Blazer. It feels kind of like in that size range, roughly. Equinox or Blazer. So let's sum things up here with this Buick Envision. First off, I think it's actually a really good looking SUV, frankly. That's something that surprised me about some of these newer Buick models, is they actually look really sharp on the outside. Interior is actually really nice as well. I think they did a really good job with integrating this whole like gauge cluster infotainment system section. Seats are comfortable and they look cool as well. And this frankly doesn't break the bank compared to a lot of other modern vehicles. This is a little bit less expensive than the price of the average brand new vehicle, which is about $47,000 now. And it's got cool tech like the camera mirror and everything. I mean, this one doesn't have a sunroof, so I guess it is missing that. But aside from that, yeah, I think job well done. It's very, like, it looks great on the inside, outside, drives really well. That turbocharged engine does pretty good at elevation. Pretty underrated car, honestly. I'm guessing that not a lot of these sell probably just because of the Buick name, but I would not look past this just because of the name, because this is actually, like I said, it's very nice.